And a very good morning to you. It is 7 a.m. on Tuesday, September 30th, 2025. Welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. We will take your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. I was just glancing over to the phone log thing. It just kind of flashed. I'm thinking, someone calling already? Wow. I'm not even awake yet. Be interesting. Partly to mostly cloudy, very warm today. This is the last claw of summertime as our friend and director Pam Sullivan's fall is trying to make its way by tomorrow. Highs today, low 80s. That'll all change in 24 hours. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the first check of today's Garden State forecast. Mike, summer right now is like an angry old woman being dragged out of the room by her toes, and fall is Pam's beautiful golden fall ready for the world.
Yeah, I love the analogy. The imagery there, ideal. However, we're going to see a lot of that old lady back by this weekend because she's not going anywhere. She's taking a little time out. And then it's right back to some warm weather for the upcoming weekend. We'll get to the part of the forecast in a bit because it does feel quite warm by the time we arrive at this weekend. Right now, it's rather humid. Temperatures hold in the low 60s, even mid 60s at the shore, mid 50s a little further north and west. And there you go, temperatures updated to 64 right now toward Hackensack. And it will feel very warm through this afternoon, especially with those temperatures continuing to climb back up into the 80s. I guess the battery died. Anyway, we're going to look forward a little bit to some more of that pleasant weather throughout this afternoon, especially as we head into a little bit more of a fall feel throughout the rest of the week. Now, with the temperature right now holding anywhere from 1 to 2 degrees above average, we'll start off a little bit milder and then transition to more of a humid feel. So 7:02, the time right now, you see ship bottom. It feels very warm, 60 degrees. It feels quite warm even as well, with the clouds and radar showing a little bit more of the cloud cover throughout most of the state, especially down south. I think we'll see those temperatures hold a little bit on the milder side even through this afternoon. Now, with that, we'll start off with the winds climbing through the 20, 25 mile per hour mark throughout the course of the day, and it will make it feel a bit more humid, especially with that northerly wind direction into this afternoon. So the Futurecast was thinking there'd be a few showers working their way through southern New Jersey this morning. However, as we head through the rest of the day, most of that northerly breeze takes over and starts to dry us out. That does two things: brings back the sunshine by day's end, but also sends temperatures plummeting down into the 30s by tomorrow morning and the 50s there toward the city. So a cool start to the day on Wednesday, and it will feel chilly throughout the afternoon, with temperatures only reaching the 60s by the end of the day. Even for Thursday, another cool start, a milder finish, but not as hot or humid with that northerly wind. And again, feeling quite pleasant with the dry weather continuing for Friday, and another round of cool weather on Friday morning as well. There's our temperatures only reaching the upper 60s, low 70s through Friday afternoon. So even though it's much drier and more pleasant over the next few days, it will feel warmer by the time we get to the weekend. And that comes in with temperatures warming back into the upper 70s, even low 80s by this weekend. So a little bit of a fall pause where we get some lovely crisp autumn weather in here. Lots of sunshine come tomorrow, and then right back to another warm round of weather that lasts into next week. We'll tell you more about it coming up with the 7-day forecast, Ken. That's in just a few minutes.
All right, Mike. Thank you, sir, very much. And Pam and I were just saying how you literally can feel the stickiness inside the
Mm,
house, out. Even with AC
yes.
going, you could feel the sticky. I have a little shine on me, a little glisten, but I'll still take that over the like a foot of snow any old day. I'm just saying. You know me. You know me this at this point. All right, Mike. We appreciate you. We'll check back with you. It is now 60 degrees and very humid, as Mike pointed out, and we pointed out at this time, 7:04. That's in northern New Jersey, 61 in Trenton, and it's 59 down the shore, down at Cape May, 7:04. We do have a lot of traffic to talk about right now. We go over to the New Jersey Turnpike, Eastern Spur northbound from south of Interchange 15E, 1 and 9 in Newark to north of Interchange 15W, 280 in Kearney. All lanes are open. There is a 2-mile delay, and this is all due to volume. Look at that. That's a lot of peeps. So I think what happened was a lot of people took mass transit last week, couldn't stand it. They took mass transit in because of the issue with the General Assembly, UN General Assembly being in town. But it's still in town. It's just that the world leaders aren't there. Now it's just the ambassadors. So there's still traffic in Midtown. It's still a gridlock alert week, just not as bad as last week. but I think more people are now deciding to drive in. They've given up on mass transit, and this is happening. It's giving you a heads up. We have a crash investigation, Route 72, both directions on Nautilus or from Nautilus Drive, and that's in the area of Stratford Township. The right lane and right shoulder are closed eastbound, and the left lane is closed westbound. So again, that is Route 72 at Nautilus Drive in Stratford. We have a crash with property damage in a vehicle off the roadway on the Garden State southbound, just south of exit 69, Waretown Road in Ocean. The right shoulder is blocked. And we always tell you if there's property damage, because that means they have to bring in an investigatory team, which means they could have sporadic lane shutdowns. That's why that's important to mention. Crash with injuries, Route 70 eastbound from west of Garden State to Shorrock, Street in Lakewood. All lanes are closed. Crash on Route 42 northbound, north of exit 13, Route 55 and Deptford. The right shoulder's closed there. Just a lot of stuff, folks. A lot of stuff to tell you about. We have another crash on the New Jersey Turnpike a little further south. It is on the inner roadway northbound, north of Interchange 7, which is Chesterfield with the left shoulder closed. Your approaches to the Hudson River right now, Lincoln and Holland are both reporting 25 to 30. Your GWB approach, look at this, very heavy at this early hour, only 7:06. This is what we'd see about 45 minutes from now. So bumper to bumper, they're talking 40 to 45 upper or lower roadways, either way. 7:06 is our time, and if it happens, it would be called the Schumer shutdown. Congress and the White House remain deadlocked over funding ahead of tomorrow's deadline, actually by tonight at midnight. It's a short-term extension that the Republicans wanted because there are still some terms they have to come to, but the Democrats didn't want to hear about it. In fact, the Democrats are the ones that want the shutdown because they are trying to pin it on Republicans. Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader in the House, was trying to say, and I love that he talks, everything is mechanical and his face doesn't move. The Republicans control the president. Watch him when he talks. Every word, even Schumer does this too. It's like from the Schumer School of Speech. It's all phony and charted. Every word has an associated hand movement, and his face is absolutely emotionless, like he had 500 Botox injections. I don't know that he did. It just appears that way. But he was trying to say that the Republicans control the White House, the Senate and the House. Problem is, to pass a spending bill, even an extension, you need 60 votes in the Senate, which the Republicans do not have. So you have to have at least 6 defections from the Democrat side, which right now they're not budging. So don't make it sound like it's all on us. Every single Republican, everyone in the House and the Senate is voting together right now, the way it looks. So we just need a couple of members of the Senate from the Democrats, and this thing passes. So don't make it sound like this is on the Republican Party, because it's not. There isn't a Democrat supporting this right now. It's entirely, don't give me your BS, it's entirely on the Democrats. So what the Democrats want, they insist on healthcare subsidies to be part of any deal. President Trump says the Democrats want to include provisions to give away money, literally $1.5 trillion to illegals and reopen the borders. Listen to this.
Well, this is all caused by the Democrats. They asked us to do something that's totally unreasonable. They never change. They want to give money away to illegally, people that entered our country illegally. They want to give them massive federal money. And we don't want to do that because it means everyone's going to just keep pouring back. Right now, we have absolutely perfect borders like you haven't seen in many years. Even better than I had great borders during my 4 years. But these borders are stone cold closed. You can only come into our country legally now. But the Democrats want to give it all away. They want to open up the borders. Take a look at that. Big thing. They want to open borders again. After what we're going through now, getting rid of prisoners, getting rid of all of these people dropped out from mental institutions, drug dealers, drug addicts, everything. They're putting everybody into our country. It's all ended now. But this is what Schumer wants. This is what the Democrats want. They want to and they want to take our money. We're doing well because of tariffs. We're doing unbelievable. We're making more money than we ever.
Now, without a breakthrough, thousands of federal workers could face furloughs. Some operations may be suspended, but honestly, only about 30% of government gets impacted by a shutdown. It wasn't like 30, 40, 50 years ago where literally the whole government shut down. Today, essential, and we say essential versus not essential. Remember that during the COVID shutdown. The essential agencies, et cetera, the military, they will still function. They may not get a paycheck right away, but they will still function. So you will not you'll hear crickets. Some of the national parks will shut down. Okay, it's fall. You're not going to go to Yosemite probably right away. You could give up on that for a few weeks, but you're not going to feel the impact. And that's what Democrats fear. They want to blame the Republicans when there really isn't any impact. So we'll see what happens. Republican leadership has made it clear any shutdown, again, would be blamed solely on the Democrats, as most or all of the Republicans vow to vote in favor of this bill. It is 7:10. It's starting to feel a little questionable for New Jersey gubernatorial candidate Mikey Sherrill. Every day it seems there's another shoe dropping. Now it turns out, we find out yesterday, 2 of her 4 children, 50% of her brood, are currently attending the Naval Academy, just like mommy and daddy did. Isn't that a coinkydink? Considering it's one of the most difficult academies in the nation to get into. Now, the way you get into it, you have to have a member of Congress or the Senate kind of recommend you in, and each member only gets up to 5 in the entirety of the Naval Academy. Only 5 people who get in can be on your name. 2 of the 5 are her kids. Now, in her defense, she did not write her own children in, but she went to 2 people who didn't have kids, and namely Senator Cory Booker, the biggest phony actor in the world. And Cory, I will sign this for you, Mikey. I want to be president of the United States someday, so support me. So Cory Booker was one of the people to recommend one of her 2 kids. She has a boy and a girl in school, and God bless them. But you need to have like superior grades. Now they may be total scholars. I am not suggesting they're not. And this is not condemnation against her children, but it smells really funny, especially the fact that your husband was tied up in a scandal involving testing. You were, even though you're not accused of cheating, you were tied up in the testing scandal by not going to superiors about it. And now your kids are both, 2 of your 4 kids are in one of the most difficult academies, which ostensibly keeps other kids out so that your kids can go in. This after you were involved in a stock scandal where you made $7 million and you didn't even know you say $7 million. You didn't report it until after you were about to get caught, and then you reported it proactively and paid the fine. But if you didn't think you were going to get caught, you wouldn't have, because you would have paid in advance. You would have reported in advance. Why not? So, and she goes into Congress in 2019 with about 700,000 net or total worth. And right now, as of 2024, last year, she has anywhere from 7 to 14 million. How does that happen? I don't know. I wish I had her stock investor, because I'm broke. You tell me. Mikey, give me a call. Let me know what to do. All right. Anyway, you just have to wonder. The whole thing smells funny. And this is the party that talks about the blue collar worker and the little guy. And it looks like a lot of them, I don't know if it's Mikey, I'm just saying a lot of them look like they're full of crap. 7:13, Gloucester Township Police warning businesses about counterfeit movie prop money. You look at this and you think, come on, counterfeit movie prop money that is circulating in the area. You may just take that bill, throw it in the register, not check. It looks at the surface like it's real, but look at the top. It says movie prop money at the top, so be careful. It's marked motion picture use only. It does resemble real currency if you're taking it quickly. Just check the money before you put it in the register. Make sure you got the real deal. Authorities advise using counterfeit detection tools and closely inspecting bills to prevent fraud. 2 people killed in a crash on Tunnelly Avenue in North Bergen late Sunday night. The accident happened near 51st around 11:30 after a driver was followed by a marked police car, then crashed with the second driver. The accident left the road closed for several hours. Just a mess in the area. And again, people dead. The New Jersey Attorney General's office is now looking into it. 7:14. And we have a story about Gloucester City Police arresting 3 suspects, including 2 Camden teens, for breaking into cars in the Highland Park neighborhood. Under a new law passed this summer, the teens' parents now face charges for failing to supervise their kids. Neighbors say they are relieved but remain cautious, relying on dogs and cameras to watch out for any more crime. Ireland has had so many migrants descend upon their small island nation that they will now offer anyone coming to seek asylum up to 10,000 euro to drop their claims and just go home. Here's 10,000 euro. That's about 13,000 US dollars. They'll pay if you are on your way to Ireland seeking refuge, which tells me if you're going to take the money and go home, you're full of crap. You're not really seeking refuge. You're looking to make a good buck, and you're trying to suck off the teat of Western society. Let's face facts, because 13,000 bucks wouldn't do it if you were fleeing a horrible life. Opponents accuse the move by the nation's right-leaning prime minister as a, quote, dog whistle dressed up as efficacy and efficiency. The move is aimed at easing pressure on the asylum system and cutting costs. The Irish Times reported that processing an asylum claim could cost the government 122,000 euro. That's like $150,000 a person, including accommodations and other costs. See, that's why when in the United States, every time you hear the left say, oh, when migrants come, it's a net value for the U.S. Bullshit. It costs us hundreds of thousands of dollars per illegal migrant. That's why New Jersey, partly why we're billions in debt. That's why notice only the big left cities are in debt, and the right-wing cities that don't have sanctuary city status are not in debt. How does that happen? Figure that one out. Well, the move seems to be working. About 1,200 people have already dropped their claims and left Ireland as of the middle of September. Ireland, which is experiencing a chronic housing crisis, so their own people can't get housing, but they're letting thousands upon thousands well, now they're calling them legal migrants, come in and take over. It's struggling to adapt to its transformation from a country of emigration to a country of immigration. It used to be that the Irish would come to the U.S. and go to other countries. Now it's everybody coming in, and literally nobody's native Irish anymore. You go to Ireland and people are all from the Middle East, and that's okay, but that's not what the country was. You don't go to Pakistan and see all Irish people. For all people saying, Ken, what are you, racist? No, it's just that listen, Italy has Italians, Ireland has Irish. Now Ireland is Pakistani. Pakistan is still Pakistani. So is it fair that a country that's painted as Irish is no longer Irish? Come in. You're welcome to come in. You're not welcome to take over. I wouldn't want to see France taken over by Americans. It would be nice to have, 100,000 Americans there to enjoy France, but not take it over and change the language and the culture. You like France because it's France or not. You like Italy because it's Italy or not. But you don't turn it into your culture. And that's what's happening. And it's not racist to be proud and enjoy the beauty that was the country before. 717, the assassination of Charlie Kirk by a radical transgender activist has once again spotlighted the growing militancy inside much of the LGBTQ plus protest movement. What the mainstream media won't tell you is this rising wave of aggressive activism isn't happening in a vacuum. It's being carefully studied, organized, and in some cases directly subsidized by you and me, U.S. tax dollars. At the center of this network sits Erica Chenoweth, a Harvard professor leftist who identifies as non-binary and uses they, them pronouns. Chenoweth has built a career researching how youth and LGBTQ plus activists can be mobilized in protest movements. In other words, take your tax dollars to figure out a way to get liberal gays, lesbians, and transgenders, that's the transgender flag, to literally burn down your city on your tax dime, focusing less on morality and safety and more on which tactics are most effective. You son of a bitch. That's all I could say. The USAID funded project, by the way, this is why we had to do away with USAID. See, we would pump billions into USAID and then they distribute it to non-government agencies the way they want it, all liberal agencies. And what do? They then pump it back into the Democrats. It was a USAID funded project hardwired into the Democrat Party apparatus, and they partnered with Representative Pramila Jayapal to run a series of resistance labs designed to train far-left radical activists for confrontation and disruption, burning down cities on your taxpayer dime. Jayapal herself told activists she wanted them to be, quote, strike ready, even suggesting violence could be coming. She further promised to share the trainings with the rest of her Democrat-controlled congressional colleagues. The Energy Department has added climate change, green, and decarbonization to its growing list of words they want people to avoid at its Office of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy. These instructions apply to both public-facing and internal communications. In other words, stop saying things like climate change, green, carbon efficient emissions, etc. Stop using the terminology. It doesn't mean that we're saying it may not exist to some extent. But the thing is, it has become a dog whistle for the left and pro-environmental movement types, so that you now have advertisers throwing the words in to try to push stuff that is oftentimes just a smokescreen. 7:20, a video surfaced showing an ICE officer pushing a woman to the floor outside immigration court after the woman touched the officer several times. You could see it on video while he was doing his job. Although the fact that she was touching his chest several times, poking him in the chest, that never got reported by mainstream media, by the way. You could see, we can't show the video because it's property of somebody else, but in the video, which you could see on X, just Google it or go to X and do a search. The woman she's upset because her husband is in court. He's about to get deported. There's the ICE agent waiting for him to come out of New York court. This is in Lower Manhattan. She's screaming. She has kids and she's poking him in the chest. Well, he's doing his job. It may be harsh, but this is what we all voted for. If you're here illegally, go home, apply to come back legally and come back legally. It hurts, but that's the law. You broke the law to get here. Listen, that's like you rob a bank. You have millions in the bank now, and you're living a comfortable lifestyle. Now the police come in to take your house, repo your house, your car, and take your money, and you're crying, stop, you can't take the car in my house. Yes, we can. You didn't get this legally. And it's the same thing. You're not here legally. Your family is not here legally. Got to go. Sorry. And then apply. We'll give you money to go back to your country. We'll give you a ticket to go back to your country. You could then apply with that money to come back legally. The Department of Homeland Security says the officer has been relieved of current duties pending a full investigation of the conduct. But even though it looks harsh, when you're assaulted but you touch an officer like that in the middle of an arrest, you're assaulting the officer. Listen, when I was a TV reporter, the police would tell us sometimes in the middle of an arrest to get across the street. And if you came within 20 feet of them, they would consider that a potential threat. And they've arrested, TV reporters and camera operators for coming close, let alone poking you in the chest in the middle of an arrest. So it is what it is. But the way the left is going to report it is evil Trump people. 7:22, partly to mostly cloudy, very warm today, highs low 80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns. When we return, you're watching ONNJ Mornings. Don't go away. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings. It's Tuesday. I'm Ken Rosato, 7:23, straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. A very windy day shaping up for tomorrow. So today, a little bit of a calm, but a lot of clouds around and a warm feel as you step outside. Weather Service already on top of it, issuing gale warnings for the shoreline areas tomorrow with those winds in excess of 35 miles per hour. We'll start to see the clearing today as the winds pick up later tonight. That will help get rid of the clouds through this afternoon and bring back a little bit of sunshine. But as far as this morning, plan on a gray sky. It should be dry for most of the day. Any of those showers or sprinkles are very light and off to our south, but with it, temperatures will hold in the 70s, climb into the low 80s by this afternoon. Visibility right now, okay, and it should stay that way over this afternoon. The cloud picture showing all of the gray sky. It's completely overcast. And again, this is all due to Imelda, which is just offshore to the south before it takes its right turn. So this is that whole cloud span ahead of it. It didn't tap into any of the moisture because, again, we have drying air that comes in later on tonight, dropping temperatures, making it feel very dry for tomorrow morning and breezy through the afternoon with temperatures that will rival, that of a typical fall feel. So October arriving just in time for the October weather. They coincide and bringing back a nice dry feel through the weekend. There is a little bit of heat that returns this weekend. It's gorgeous all Saturday and Sunday, even into Monday. Lots of sunshine, maybe some clouds return by Monday afternoon. But beyond that, we stay dry. Tuesday has the potential for a little sprinkle even into Tuesday morning, but we dry out again throughout the end of next week. So a very pleasantly dry forecast ahead for tomorrow and Thursday. And then we warm it up after the cool down back into the upper 70s with that dry weather continuing. Really not a lot of rain in the forecast, if any at all. So our drought continues, but at least we get a little bit of a cool down. So it'll appease those that are waiting for fall with bated breath. And here we are. Tomorrow morning, you'll feel that fall with the 30s in northern New Jersey, even some frost advisories, I think, by Thursday morning.
I have an electric blanket on my legs right now thinking about it, but there you go. I'm an old lady. All right. Thank you very much, Mike. We appreciate it. It is 58 degrees right now, dropped a little bit in northern New Jersey, 60 in Trenton, and it's only 56 now. Must be a little breeze off the ocean or something down in Cape May. 725, we do have traffic to talk about. A crash investigation, Route 70 eastbound, Garden State Parkway to Shark Street in Lakewood with all lanes closed. Look at this mess on Route 3 right now. There's a crash with injuries, Route 3 westbound, east of Passaic Avenue, Clifton. One of the 3 lanes closed, the left lane specifically, so that's causing a big backup. It looks like there might even be something on the shoulder. I don't know what that is there. You see that, the shoulder? I don't know what that is. Someone's just giving the high beams, I guess, saying, move it, move it. We also have a crash at the Lincoln Tunnel, North Tunnel, westbound New York side. All lanes are blocked, so that's causing a mess for people trying to get back into New Jersey, and there are reverse commuters. I don't know how it's impacting people from New Jersey at this point. It says that it's only about a 25-minute trip into Manhattan. Crash investigation, Route 72, both directions, Nautilus Drive in Stafford Township. The right lane, right shoulder closed eastbound, and the left lane on the westbound side also closed. And a crash with property damage, Garden State southbound, south of exit 69, Ocean Township with the right shoulder blocked. Look at your other crossings here of the GWB crossing of the Hudson River. It's 25 to 30 at the Hudson, and it's now 40 to 45 at the GWB with just a mess of traffic. Remember, still a gridlock alert day in Manhattan with the General Assembly still in session, just not with the world leaders in town. 726, a Marine Corps veteran drove into a Michigan church and opened fire, killing 4 people and wounding several more. The suspect, identified as 40-year-old Thomas Jake Sanford, reportedly expressed hatred toward members of the Mormon faith, according to the FBI and a White House spokesperson. An investigation into his motive, planning, and possible ideological influences is ongoing. Armed federal agents in tactical gear have been patrolling downtown Chicago as part of a broader immigration enforcement operation. The Trump administration is considering deploying up to 100 National Guard troops to Illinois to protect ICE agents and facilities. Governor J.B. Pritzker, fat tub of crap that he is, just a leftist phony billionaire from the Hyatt hotel family. He has literally billions in the bank, and he's telling everybody how to live their lives. He's expressed concerns about the potential deployment, citing the need for community trust and safety. Hey, Pritzker, how about you take care of crime? And so black, poor people in the south side of Chicago who get murdered by the dozen every weekend, if you just enforce the law so that they can live a nice life like you live, you fat tub of crap, in your billion-dollar house, maybe it'll be different. You make everything look like the right wing is racist and this. No, the right wing is against crime. And we want no crime, whether it's in a white neighborhood or a black neighborhood, but you seem to like crime because you don't have to live near it, you phony piece of crap. So now the right wing is trying to get what is legal. When you have a city out of control, when you have like 36 shootings and a dozen murders every weekend, and it's all in one community, the black community, don't say it's racist then if we're sending in troops to that community. Many of those troops are also black and Hispanic, by the way. Don't make it sound like, oh, you're just trying to suppress people in those neighborhoods. No, they're trying to suppress crime in those neighborhoods, you phony piece of crap. You just don't like it, the fact that in Washington, D.C., crime doesn't exist anymore. You could walk the streets at night with money in your hands and not get robbed. You don't like that, do you? You don't like the fact that Republicans come in and show you up for the piece of crap, lying, two-faced SOB that you are. You don't like that. And it's going to happen in your city. It's going to happen in Portland, and it's going to happen in Memphis and New York, and every big city where crime exists and is flourishing since Democrats have changed the laws and had rotating people being held for 2 minutes in jail and released. It's all going to change. And if it happens, it would be called the Schumer shutdown. Congress and the White House remain deadlocked over funding ahead of tomorrow's deadline. We won't play the sound here, Pam. Republicans demand a short-term extension while Democrats insist health care subsidies must be part of any deal. President Trump said the Democrats want to include provisions to give away money to illegals and reopen the borders. Without a breakthrough, thousands of federal workers could face furloughs, although you probably won't even notice it because it's really just non-essential workers who would be impacted. And President Trump has announced a significant expansion of coal mining in the U.S. We have more coal than every other nation on earth combined, opening 13 million acres of federal land to new coal leases and allocating $625 million to modernize coal-fired power plants. You can do something called clean coal that scrubs the stuff coming out of the stacks so it doesn't pollute the atmosphere. These actions are part of a broader initiative to revitalize the coal industry, which is very inexpensive and works every time. It has faced challenges from environmental regulations and competition from cheaper energy sources, although it's hard to say that coal is cheaper. Anything is cheaper than coal, I should say. Coal is about the cheapest source out there. The administration argues these measures will enhance energy reliability. It's an all-inclusive approach, not just one thing. The Democrats only want solar, wind, solar, wind, solar, wind. Republicans are looking at a little of everything. Critics express concerns about environmental impacts, of course, and the long-term vitality of coal. It will work. It always has. And many families pay more to live in safer neighborhoods. Shocker. A new smart asset study shows New Jersey suburbs Edgewater and Fort Lee ranked 8th and 18th safest in the nation, with low crime and solid community statistics. The towns offer a mix of safety and affordability, making them top picks for suburban living. You just wait until all the low-income housing gets shoved in by the governor. See how that changes. And that's not to imply that everybody who's low income is involved in crime, but you go into neighborhoods like we're talking about, and there currently is no low-income housing. So there has to be some correlation there. And get this, listen to this study at 731. Great Britain's National Health Service has taken a knee to political correctness by advocating the benefits of marriage between first cousins. Go marry your first cousin. Ew. Pam said ew as I said ew. Despite it carrying an increased risk of all sorts of birth defects. That's why it's illegal in most places in the world. You get increased birth defects. Now, since the mostly Pakistan community has moved into Great Britain, the number of birth defects in the community is as high as 10 to 20%. Scratch your head. There are a couple of other communities I won't even mention where marrying your first cousin is common. You probably know who they are in the New York tri-state area. Rockland County, ring a bell. Northern New Jersey, ring a bell. And this is not to condemn the people, but when you when you keep a very closed, tight community and you reproduce within your community, the gene pool is too small. Again, figures show 20% or more of all children treated for congenital problems in many of Britain's largest cities are of Pakistani descent, compared to 4% of the wider population for the same issues. So why would they take a knee and allow it to happen? Because Pakistanis in Great Britain now control everything. They control the major cities. They control the House of Commons. They are literally in charge of Great Britain right now. So now the National Health Service is saying, whatever you want, folks. Goodbye, Great Britain. There you go. They're all fleeing Pakistan with all those problems there and coming to Great Britain, not to live the Western life, but to convert Great Britain to Pakistan. Meanwhile, you just fled Pakistan because of those problems. Why do you want to bring the problems to Great Britain? But you go online, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's awful. 733, ever wanted a 30-foot animatronic dinosaur? Well, now's your chance, rather. As Field Station Dinosaurs in Leonia, New Jersey is closing next month. They're selling off their life-size dinos on Facebook Marketplace. Prices range from $700 for a pterodactyl to $2,700 for a 39-foot tall T-Rex. Buyers have to handle removal and transport themselves. But how'd you like to have a 39-foot T-Rex on your lawn? I know people who'll do it. It is 58 degrees now at 7:34. When we come back, Eric, the travel guy Hastings, takes us on a vacation on ice. And we're not talking about immigration. The phone lines are open, 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jeanette Hoffman, host of Energy Matters. Join me every night at 6 p.m. where we're discussing energy affordability, challenges, and solutions with stakeholders and elected officials. Join me weekdays at 6 p.m. on Energy Matters on ONNJ.
Good morning to you. 58 degrees now. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta on New Jersey Mornings with the Garden State forecast. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ken. A bit of a milder feel this morning. You felt that humidity when you stepped outside, and that humidity remains high today, with temperatures also quite warm in the mid and upper 70s. The clouds hanging low through this afternoon, maybe a break of sun through the end of the day. But in southern New Jersey, you have the best shot of staying cloudy for most of the day. A lot of the clouds clear a little bit faster in the northern sections of the state. With the average temperature for the day being 73 degrees, we're starting to transition to that cooler weather by tomorrow, and I think we'll feel it when that high settles in and drives out these clouds and brings back a nice dry feel. Again, these are the clouds from Imelda, which are just spinning offshore of the Florida coast. So Umberto offshore as well, taking that right turn, and in doing so, dragging Imelda with it as it works its way to the north and east and pulling all of that energy away from the U.S. coast. So as that system loses intensity, it'll actually bring Imelda around it and help to guide the storm away from the mainland over the next day or so. It's forecast to strengthen to a Category 1 storm by later today. Might become Cat 2 as it approaches Bermuda, but it's going to be traveling so fast by then, it shouldn't be too much of an impact. Even our ocean waves will be pretty rough. Offshore, we'll probably see some coastal erosion throughout Wednesday and Thursday with those pretty high wave heights, and then those wave heights diminish as the systems pull out to sea. So through this afternoon, looking at mostly sunny skies developing to the north, and then we turn a little bit warmer this afternoon, but it's that dry breeze that lowers the humidity into the end of the day, making it feel very breezy tomorrow, gusts upwards of 30, 40 miles per hour down at the shore, but temperatures remain in the 60s as a high inland. That's a far cry from the 80s today. So a big drop in not only temperatures, but humidity. Thursday is also rather chilly. 30s expected up in Sussex County, climbing into the low 60s by the afternoon and keeping it dry through the rest of the week. So there goes really our only chance of rain that we have over the next week or so, skipping out to sea with that tropical system, and we're dry from this point forward. The breezes tomorrow take over, lead us into some very sunny and dry weather into Friday as well. And then Saturday and Sunday, as the high sinks further south, we pick up more of a southwesterly breeze, and that will make it feel warmer going into the upcoming weekend. So we get a little taste of fall for tomorrow and Thursday. With it, gusty breezes in the morning, but calmer by the afternoon. Still lovely fall weather. And then for Saturday and Sunday, the warming trend takes over. And before you know it, we're back in the 80s by Monday. So summer wasn't gone for too long, at least by next week. A little bit of a cool down as well at the shore. Not too much, thanks to those winds from the north blowing in over the water. And then Saturday and Sunday warming as well, with highs climbing into the low 70s by Monday. So yet again, I think it's another beach weekend. If you're not a fan or not ready for the fall festivities, skip out to the shore. You'll pretty much get the whole beach to yourself, you and a couple other folks there with the beach chairs that don't want to let summer go, because the weather's looking fantastic this upcoming weekend, Ken.
Yeah, and Mike, see if you remember back 6 months ago, if you can't get to the main beach, you can get to the little one, and you know what the little beach is called?
Son of a beach. Yes.
Thank you for
I
just
remember.
thank you. Somebody indulge me. All right, Mike, thank you very much. I will go take my dad jokes and go away now. We'll check back with you, buddy. 59 degrees. We have a mess on Route 3. Take a look at this absolute mess of bumper to bumper traffic. We have a crash with injuries in Route 3 westbound east of Passaic Avenue. Maybe they moved it off to the shoulder, starting to move before it was not moving. There was one left lane closed. Yeah, they may have cleared it because now it's starting to move. Still heavy, though. Just beware of that. And your Hudson River approaches all ugly. The Lincoln Tunnel and the Holland Tunnel are both now 35 minutes. GWB bumper to bumper mess. This is all because we still have a gridlock alert week in effect in Manhattan due to the General Assembly at the UN. Yuck. That is 40 to 45 minutes getting in. I know our Eric Hastings, who used to work in Manhattan, used to live in New Jersey. He knows what that's like. We're going to talk to him in a second. He's thinking, none of that crap, Rosato. I'm done with that. Just try to take mass transit for the next few days. 740, it is one of the most unique hotels on the planet, but it may not be for everybody. Eric the Travel Guy Hastings of ericthetravelguy.com, that's Eric with a K, and the PBS YouTube travel series Beyond Your Backyard, joins us to talk about the Ice Hotel. Good morning, Eric.
Well, good morning, Ken. How are you? Happy Tuesday. Happy Travel
Happy
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yes, Travel Tuesday, best day to get your plane tickets. So we're not talking about immigrations and customs enforcement hotels, right? Nobody has to worry.
No, we are talking about the Hotel de Glace, Ken. Okay, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the oldest and only ice hotel in North America, and it's closer than you think. So you don't have to go to Sweden. Now, Sweden, that is an entire hotel made out of ice and snow every year. Now, the original one is in Sweden. That's 1989 that opens. And then here in North America, just outside Quebec City, you will find the Ice Hotel. Now, some people have a problem with French Canadians because they can be a little snooty. But frankly, I'm a little snooty, so I'm all right with that. You know, they can be. But I got to tell you, Ken, the last time I was at the Ice Hotel, I had so much fun. It was such a unique experience, and it's only open from the beginning of January to the beginning of March. So they build it every year. That's one of the things that makes it absolutely unique.
So when you say they build it, what do they carve it into the side of a mountain?
No, they actually make their own ice and snow every year for it. Okay, so they put up a steel superstructure, and then they build the ice and snow blocks around it, and then they remove. And once it hardens, then they remove the steel infrastructure. So it really is built out of ice and snow every year. It's really cool, and quite frankly, the last time I was there, I really enjoyed the overnight. You stay one night because it's such a novelty. You don't stay there, 4 or 5 nights. You stay there one night because it's a novelty. And what I learned is that the number one reason people go into the resort that's inside from the Ice Hotel is not because it's cold, but because they get a little claustrophobic and they think it's going to fall down on them, which of course it does not.
Interesting. So are you saying can you sleep though in the cold part? It's like an igloo basically. You're building an igloo.
Yeah.
So can you sleep in that part?
And when you say igloo, the problem with saying the word igloo is that we have this image of like this little, thing with no, it is a massive, now it's still one-story structure, but absolutely there's guest rooms now. Forgive me, I don't know how many guest rooms there are, but there's guest rooms, suites, people get married there. Yes, so the bed itself, for instance, since you asked, you can sleep overnight. The bed itself is actually carved out of ice and stone, and then it's covered with foam, and then it's covered with animal skins. And then you sleep in a, for lack of a better description, sleeping bag on top of the animal skin. It is so cool. It is so interesting. And it's so unique. It's unlike anything you've ever done.
So how cold does it feel when you're sleeping? Because to me, I can't take the cold like that.
That question I'm going to have to defer to Mike because he's the meteorologist. Okay, I'm not a weather person, for heaven's sake. It's cold, but I got to tell you, you'd be surprised. And of course, you go to the ice bar and you have ice wine that's served in an ice glass. I mean, you learn how to carve ice. They have little. I mean, I'm telling you, it is so cool. And then by the time you get to bed, it's very warm. You sleep in these thermal bags, and I'm telling you, they prepare you to sleep on ice. So on your pre-arrival, long before you get there, they send you materials that talks about limit your alcohol consumption, keep your water consumption going. All the electronics that you bring with you, need to stay in your bag with you, or you need to put them in a separate heat bag so that they don't freeze overnight. It really, I know if somebody said you need to go do this, I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's probably going to be terrible. I'm going to hate it. No, nonstop flight from Newark on United or Air Canada. And if you want to do a little combo trip, one of the things I would recommend is you do a night at the Ice Hotel and then go over to Quebec City, which is 15, 20 minutes away. This charming little town feels like you're in Europe without having to cross the pond. It's a cute little town. You get a little funicular and various things. So there's plenty to do and see in Quebec City as well. Or you could combo the trip. I've had too much coffee, Ken. This is the problem with me today. Or you could combo and do Montreal, which is what, an hour away or so? So
Yeah.
you do Montreal, then Quebec City.
In fact, Pam, you have some shots. We should have loaded some shots of Quebec City to show you how quaint it is. And I've only been once, and Quebec is that combination of old world Europe with modern Western cities. It's all together, and the restaurants are great, but it's not overwhelming. It's there's you in Quebec. Look
Hey,
at
there's a
little
young guy.
Eric.
Look at that guy. Look at my younger brother. Thinner younger brother.
What year would that
No,
have been,
that's
Eric?
an old trip. But look, I could watch this all day. I haven't seen this in a long time. Yeah, great.
I watch your stuff on the YouTube all the time. It's such a pretty city. It's
Yeah,
such a
it is.
pretty city. Look at how fun that
It
is.
is. And again, it's close. That's one of the things we talk about. When the budget's a little tighter, you say you can zip up there on a nonstop flight. You can drive up there. Look, you do 8
Yes,
hours. It's
it's
all
8 hours.
interstate.
Yep,
Yeah,
8 hours
it's
from
an
New
easy
Jersey,
drive.
northern Jersey.
Yeah, and again, one of the things, you look at the old city. It's a fortified UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's an old fortified city, old Quebec. You ride the funicular up. You take a tour of the what's it called? Fairmont,
Mhm.
Frontenac. I had to write it down, which is a gorgeous hotel up there as well.
I love it. Eric the Travel Guy Hastings, what a unique trip that is of ericthetravelguy.com. That's Eric with a K. And the PBS, which you just saw, the PBS and YouTube travel series Beyond Your Backyard. You got like 2 million episodes on that, which I love. You never get tired of looking at that. Also,
I need a
proprietor and
vacation.
host.
I need a vacation. Oh my God.
Because when you go do that, people think, oh, look, he gets to go on vacation. No, you don't. You're working the whole time when you do those things.
You know what? I
It's
have
crazy.
zero complaints. Zero
Uh,
complaints. Zero.
Well, it looks like you have a good time, even though I know you're working. I know it's a lot of work, but also proprietor and host of the Speakeasy Murder and Other Acts of Prohibition Dinner Theater in Orlando, Florida. Fun to do if you go down to the big theme parks. Make sure you carve out at least one night to go do that with the family. Thank you, my friend, for coming here this morning, as always.
Absolutely. We'll see you next week. Ooh, what will I cook up for next week? I don't know. I got to get back to the travel lab. I'm out of here. I'll see you later.
Thank you, Eric. He's hilarious. 740 bye. Too much. 747. I love him. When we come back, there are still many unanswered questions following the recent shooting. Here we're shifting again with the word ICE to at an ICE facility in Dallas. We're going to talk to a former FBI counterterrorism operative about it. Partly to mostly cloudy, warm today, highs low 80s. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings. We'll be right back. Well, hello. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 748. We will take your calls at 888-658-0234. Partly to mostly cloudy, very warm today. Highs in the low 80s. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. We've got a pretty warm day ahead, unusually warm for the last day of September. I know, October beginning tomorrow, and yet we have highs today that are climbing into the low 80s with the clouds this morning, but more sunshine as the afternoon goes along, and temperatures already in the 60s, but with the humidity, feels so much warmer. So here's the drought situation, mostly happening across northern New Jersey for that impressively dry air that has been plaguing New Jersey. Not much of a substantial rainfall. I mean, apart from a little spritz or sprinkle, maybe every few days here and there. We're running at about a 2 to 4 inch rainfall deficit. Couple that with the continued dry weather and the insane heat forecast through the middle of October, doesn't mean we'll be breaking records. It means that there is this prolonged period of above average temperatures. May only be 2 to 5 degrees above average, but still, it's that prolonged period of warmer than average weather, coupled with the dry air and the persistently dry weather through the first few days of October, that will keep us running rather dry. So as far as temperatures go, we cool down after today. The cold front sweeps through, drops the air temperature and the humidity, making it feel like fall through about Thursday afternoon. Then we're right back to some warmer weather in the 70s for Friday and Saturday. We get more of a southwesterly breeze pumping in the heat and humidity, bringing us back up into the 80s for the first full week of October. So a little bit of a brief pause from summer. We get that fall feeling here for about 2-3 days, and then right back to the warm up come Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Granted, it's sunny, it's dry, it looks beautiful, and it'll stay that way going forward, even with that 7-day keeping us, well, running pretty clear going through next week. No real big rain systems for the next 7 days, Ken.
Right. Thank you so much, Mike. Appreciate it. 7:50 is our time, and we have a temperature 59 degrees, a little chilly, a little cooler than it was. It was like 63, 64 when we started the show just an hour ago. So it's dropped. It always, it's always darkest before the dawn. Well, it's always coolest at sunrise. I remember when I was a field reporter at Channel 7, when I started out there back in around 2003, 2004, we'd be out at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. What we would see is, when it was middle of the night, the air was still. The minute the sun would start to rise, it would cause a breeze off the water, the Hudson River or whatever, and you would get this chill, and the air temperature would drop 3 or 4 degrees just at that time. So it is what it is. So 58 degrees right now in northern New Jersey. It is 60 in Trenton and 59 down at Cape May. Looking at traffic right now, we have an issue. Oh boy, a lot of issues. Garden State Parkway northbound, there's a crash north of exit 89C, which is Lakewood Airport Road in Lakewood Township, with a center lane blocked. Let's go over to Route 3. We have a crash with injuries westbound east of Passaic Avenue in Clifton. It's now picking up, you could see. So before that was absolutely stopped. It's now starting to move, but they have everything pushed off to one side, and they're going to clear that up in a little bit. But nonetheless, give yourselves a little extra travel time through there. We have a crash investigation, Route 72, both directions, by Nautilus Drive and Stafford Township. The right lane is closed. We have a crash with property damage and vehicle off the roadway, Garden State Parkway southbound, south of exit 69, Waretown Road in Ocean Township. And if we go to the Hudson River crossings right now, an absolute mess on the GWB, because now we have a disabled vehicle, GWB lower level. So if we look at this, lower level is on your left, upper level is on the right, and this is causing massive problems as you make your way into Manhattan. It's just going to get worse as it continues to build. We still have gridlock alert week that is in effect. So try to avoid taking the highways into Manhattan if you can. If you have to, though, avoid the Upper East Side, certainly. Let's go back, Mike. Let's go back to the 704 if we can, if you don't mind, Pam. That's how we'll do it. All right, so it is 7:52, and if it happens, it is being called the Schumer shutdown. It seems that yesterday, Senator Chuck Schumer was going to grant the Republicans a week before they would shut anything down in terms of our national government, the federal government. But many on the left got into Schumer's ear and said, no, use this as an opportunity. So Schumer came into a press conference and said, no, no, no. It looks like the government's going to shut down and it's all on the Republicans. Well, no, not really. It looks like every single Republican is voting for a spending plan right now that the Democrats will not touch. And you need to have 10 Democrat votes. Or I shouldn't say that. You need to have 60 votes in total in the Senate to pass any spending bill. It used to be 67. Now it's 60. That's the law. That's the Constitution. You have to have that. If every Republican votes, that's 54 votes. So you need at least 6 votes from the Democrats in the Senate to pass this bill. Right now, it looks like every Republican in the House and every Republican in the Senate is supporting this. So you can't blame the Republicans if it doesn't pass. What the Democrats want to do is they want to open the border. Hello, did we not learn anything? They want to open the border and spend hundreds of billions of dollars for illegal migrants in the United States right now, for healthcare and other things. I guess they did not learn this thing called an election. People were tired of that. Take a listen to what the president had to say about this yesterday.
Well, this is all caused by the Democrats. They asked us to do something that's totally unreasonable. They never change. They want to give money away to illegals, illegally, people that entered our country illegally. They want to give them massive federal money. And we don't want to do that because it means everyone's going to just keep pouring back. Right now, we have absolutely perfect borders like you haven't seen in many years. Even better than I had great borders during my 4 years, but these borders are stone cold closed. You can only come into our country legally now. But the Democrats want to give it all away. They want to open up the borders. Take a look at that. Big thing. They want to open borders again after what we're going through now, getting rid of prisoners, getting rid of all of these people dropped out from mental institutions, drug dealers, drug addicts, everything. They're putting everybody into our country. It's all ended now. But this is what Schumer wants. This is what the Democrats want. They want to and they want to take our money. We're doing well because of tariffs. We're doing unbelievable. We're making more money than we ever.
Well, without any kind of a breakthrough, thousands of federal workers could face furloughs, so they wouldn't be paid for a few weeks until something gets passed. And some operations may have to be suspended, though. When you have a government shutdown today, it's not like it was 40 years ago. A government shutdown does not mean everything shuts down. It certainly doesn't mean your state and local government shuts down. They continue running. The federal government, only about 20 to 30% of the government shuts down. So you may not be able to use certain federal parks. You may not be able to. Oh, by the way, if you remember under the Obama administration actually locked up the parks and wouldn't let anybody in. There are parts of the federal parks you could just walk into. Yosemite it's like a whole state, the size of a state. Yosemite does not need human beings to staff every entry point. But yet the Obama administration literally padlocked everything to send a message to the Republicans to force their hand. So you couldn't go into any national park. There are certain national parks that don't require staffing that you could still walk into. But if it requires staffing, those national parks may temporarily be closed. But if it's an essential service, the military, et cetera, they're not going to shut down. It's only about 30% of the federal government. And guess what? I think the Democrats are overplaying their hand here because people are going to say after like 5 weeks, they're going to say, oh, I'm still getting my Social Security check. I don't notice any difference. Why are we paying 100,000 people to do nothing? You're fired. And in that case, by not reporting to work, remember, it is against, well, I'm getting into a gray area. You can't strike if you work for the federal government, but this isn't a strike. This would be the federal government furloughing people. That's different. But you could have a situation where President Trump says, we had these 100,000 people not working for 3 weeks. We didn't even notice a difference. They're all fired. Could happen. We'll see what happens. No, Ken, you can't. Yeah, you can. The president of the United States, whoever it is head of the executive branch. And the head of the executive branch is the CEO of the company that is the executive branch. And all those departments, those national departments that are approved by the Congress, their CEO is a guy named President Trump right now. Take it or not, take it or leave it, like it or not, I should say. That's the reality. And if he sees everything works great without 100,000 people, let's just fire him. It could happen. So Senator Schumer right there, he's trying to say that if there's a shutdown, it's on the Republicans. No, Senator. It would literally be 5 or 6 Democrats that would shut down the system, not Republicans. So, and I don't even think most Americans will notice the difference. They won't. Every time there's a shutdown, everybody shudders and says, "Oh, here I'm doing my Cory Booker impersonation. It's the worst thing ever." No one will notice the difference, and you're going to go about your business and live your life. And President Trump will look at Chuck Schumer and say, "Told you so." I think Chuck Schumer's on his way out. His approval rating is so low right now, it makes hell look like a level above. I think AOC, if she doesn't run for president, she's going to take his Senate seat. So Chuck, enjoy your last couple of months or year or so in office. 7:58, starting to feel questionable for New Jersey gubernatorial candidate Mikey Sherrill. What are we talking about? Turns out 2 of her 4 children currently attend the extremely exclusive and nearly impossible to get into U.S. Naval Academy, just like mommy and daddy went. It does appear a little nepotistic, doesn't it? Now, you have to get a recommendation from your Congress member or senator to get into that school. In her defense, Mikey did not sign off on her own children, but she did get Cory and another senator to sign off on it, because each member of the House and Senate is allowed to have up to 5 people attending the Naval Academy that they recommended for the entirety, not 5 people a year, 5 people in total. So if there are 1,000 people at the Naval Academy, 5 of them have to have your signature. And until they graduate, you can't recommend somebody else. That's the way it works. Or you could recommend, but if they get in, that's one more person or one fewer person that comes on your name, if you will. But it is questionable, to say the least. If you graduated the Naval Academy and you're involved in what is a potential scandal here, involving the testing and whatnot. Now, Mikey is not accused of cheating on any tests, but she is now accused, and she says she didn't rat out her classmates who cheated. Well, there's an honor code in the military, in the Naval Academy. She was supposed to, it's a privilege to be there. You don't have a right to attend that. And so it's going to be questionable right now as to what happens, but it does not look good. Each day it's like another shoe dropping. And you could say, well, it's probably just the right wing, the Trump administration, and it's the Citarelli camp. Well, whether it is or not, these things are realistic, right? Answer them. Mikey Sherrill hides and does not have good answers. When Charlemagne the God asked her, and he's a Democrat, nice man, I work with him. I work with him when I'm at iHeartRadio. He asked her outright, you made $7 million in stock trades, according to Newsmax. She says, well, Newsmax is a questionable operation. Whether it's questionable or schmeshionable, did you make $7 million in stock trades? And all she could say is, I'm not really sure about that. Yeah, she made $7 million in stock trades, she and her husband. I mean, you have to be prepared for questions like that. Put on your big boy pants if you're going to run for governor and have answers. So it seems that she keeps fumfering. And if you look at the polls, as Jack Ciattarelli has been going up, and he's climbed about 12 points in the last 3 months, she has stayed exactly the same. So the Democrats who supported her 3 months ago still support her, but the independents are not. The independents are now clearly breaking for Jack Ciattarelli. He now beats her by a point in one poll and ties with her in another major poll, the Emerson poll. And in a state where 860,000 more Democrats are registered than Republicans, this does not bode well for Mikey Sherrill. We'll see what the next polls show, but they're trying to make it look like this whole announcement of the military scandal is just dirt from the right. No. I mean, the fact that all her military records were released, well, it was done with the Freedom of Information Act. It wasn't somebody broke in like Watergate. Just answer the question. What was your involvement and why? And she doesn't want to answer questions. She doesn't want to appear on local media. She refuses to come on this show. Mikey Sherrill, you got to start. If you want to be governor, you got to answer questions. Jack Ciattarelli, I just did a show with Jack Ciattarelli the other day. He's been on this station several times. Now Mikey has been on the station, but not a political show like ours. She won't come on. So we'll see what happens. All right, it is now 8:02. When we come back, if you're a cat lover, there's a big weekend coming up that you won't want to miss. Plus, we'll take your calls, 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. We're back in 30. Good morning, 8:03, Tuesday, September 30th, 2025. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta on what feels like a midsummer day, partly to mostly cloudy, warm, highs, low 80s, and sticky, not sticky, but sticky.
It's true, Ken. I feel like we've had cooler days this summer. It's warm this morning. It gets more humid this afternoon. And the temperature, again, in the low 80s by the end of the day. We're already starting in the mid-60s across most of the state, even mid-50s north and west where it's cooler. We're running about 2 to 5 degrees cooler than this time yesterday. So just about where we were, but it's the humidity that's still running high. That humidity drops later on tonight as the sun returns and the clouds thin. Right now, starting to see some clouds thin in northern New Jersey. That will take over the rest of the state with the sunshine through the course of the day as the winds of change push in some very breezy conditions by later on tonight into tomorrow. Those northerly winds drop the humidity as drier air rushes in, but it's going to be very windy by this time tomorrow morning. Likely see gusts upwards of 30, 35 miles per hour down at the shore points, maybe 20, 25 miles per hour to the north and west. And that fall feel will arrive because the air will feel so cool and so crisp. Temperatures expected to start off in the 30s and 40s tomorrow morning. So there go the last of the chances of showers that we had, again, staying south today. Gradual clearing from north to south this afternoon, more sunshine by the end of the day, and then it's a free fall. Temperatures down in the 30s at this time tomorrow morning, low upper 40s, low 50s, and feeling quite cool throughout the afternoon, only climbing into the 60s, a solid 20 degrees cooler just in the course of a day. It stays chilly as well for Wednesday morning with another round of dry air for Friday, and then Thursday into Friday. And then I think Friday into the weekend sees a little bit of a warming trend after a cool start yet again, but we're back in the 70s by Friday afternoon. And with a southerly breeze taking over, it starts to warm through the rest of the weekend. So a bit of a variability from cool to warm yet again in just the course of a few days. We get that little bit of a break from the summer warmth, and then, well, right back to regularly scheduled warmth this weekend into next week. We'll talk more about it with the 7-day forecast. There are some 80s on the board, Ken, and they come in just about a week's time. Those details coming up.
I shouldn't be happy because I know Pam, our director, would be upset. I know Pam she heard the whole thing about the ice hotel with Eric Hastings, and she was like in her
Oh,
glory,
yeah.
thinking, give me that. And by the way, I'm going to give you a true confession on the air. When when Eric told me, he texted me last night. I said, what do you want to talk about with travel tomorrow? He says, let's talk about the ice hotel and Quebec City. But he didn't say in Quebec City. He said and Quebec City. So I thought we were going to talk
Oh.
about the ice hotel in Sweden and Quebec City in Canada. So that's why I went and got his video of the ice hotel in Sweden. While he's
Oh, my
talking, I'm
goodness.
like, oh, he's talking about the ice hotel. I had no idea. So I found out live on the air with everybody else that we were talking about I didn't realize there was an ice hotel in Quebec. But honestly, I'd want to check that out. Would you be interested? I mean,
Mhm.
I wouldn't do it for more than a day, but that would be cool to check out. Got to find out how much that
It
costs. Maybe we'll
sounds
do the morning
very
show.
exciting. I mean, I already sleep in sweats anyway because, my wife tends to be very warm at night. So, we set the thermostat at like 65 degrees. But yeah, that would be, I'm used to it. I'm prepared. Ready to
Mike,
go.
you're always prepared. You're a scientist. This is what you do. But yeah, I would check out the morning show there. Unless Pam would be like, woohoo, she's all excited about it. All right, we'll see what we can do about that. Pull some strings. Thank you, Michael. It is 57 degrees right now in northern New Jersey, 61 in Trenton, and it is 58 down the shore at Cape May. 807. We do have a lot of traffic to talk about. Take a look at the Garden State Parkway now. We have a crash on the Garden State northbound, north of exit 89C. You could see that traffic. It was pretty heavy a second ago. It seems that Pam has the magic touch. Whenever we show the shot, all of a sudden things open up. That was stopped a minute ago. But this is northbound, north of. You see brake lights still? All right. So it's still slow. Some. I see one car with brake lights. But this is 89C Lakewood Airport Road in Lakewood Township. The left shoulder is apparently blocked. Or maybe it was blocked and it opened, but just give yourselves a few extra minutes there. And we have a vehicle fire, Jersey Turnpike Inner Roadway, southbound north of Interchange 8A, Route 32 in South Brunswick. The right lane and shoulder closed to traffic due to some kind of an incident they're not telling us about. We have a crash investigation, Route 72, both directions by Nautilus Drive in Stafford Township with the right lane and the right shoulder closed. Eastbound, and the left lane is closed westbound. We have issues now on the turnpike. Debris on the turnpike. Eastern Spur northbound south of interchange 15E. That's 1 and 9 in Newark to north of interchange 15W, 280 in Kearney. All lanes are open, but it's 2 miles of volume delays. That's really causing a mess. Your Hudson River crossings. 35 minutes at the Lincoln. That's been the case for about an hour now. It's 30 minutes at the Holland. And look at your GWB approach, just bumper to bumper, upper and lower levels. Your lower might be a little better now, which is on the left, than the upper, but it's going to cost you 45 minutes in. Remember, we still have a gridlock alert week in Manhattan because the General Assembly, the UN people are still there. Just the world leaders aren't there this week. So it's a mess through Friday. Try to take mass transit, avoid traveling in, work from home if you can for the next few days, if you're allowed to. If you have to go and avoid the Upper East Side like the plague. 809, if you are a cat lover, there's a big weekend coming up that you will not want to miss. I could feel my allergies kicking in right now, although I do love cats. CatCon returns to Bell Works in Homedale, October 11th and 12th. Over 50 vendors, cat adoptions, pop-up cafes, or should they be called catfés? Even a pet psychic, all happening in one place. Joining us now is DJ Bornshine, who is the cat lover, founder and president of Catberry Park, the nonprofit behind CatCon, and somebody who's made it his mission in life to help at-risk cats and kittens find loving homes. You must love Curtis Sliwa. Good morning, DJ. Curtis is a friend of mine. I could say that.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. So how many cats are going to be at this event?
So we have each day we have about 10 different rescues bringing cats for adoption, and one main rescue. We set up like a I'm sure most people at this point have heard of cat cafes, and we set up a like kind of pop-up cat cafe where you can get coffee, go in a big room and hang out with about 10 to 15 cats, and then obviously throughout the vendor floor and the entire convention there will be adoptable cats all day, every day, both Saturday and Sunday.
I love that. Listen, I'm an animal lover. I love dogs and I love cats too. I'm just horribly allergic to them. But like when I visit my mother-in-law she used to have 5 cats at one point. Now I think she's down to 2 or 3. But it's always like put the eye drops in, take the antihistamine, and they're the sweetest things in the world. They really are. And I know a lot of cats are aloof, but her cats just love coming up to people and they're very sweet. Yeah. You can't not love that. It depends on everybody has a different personality, cats too, right? So what can people expect this year at CatCon?
So at this year's Catberry Park convention, just fun of all kinds. I mean, there'll be shopping. We have close to 70 vendors selling everything from stuff for your home, art, and little trinkets, stuff for your cats, toys, beds, cat food, cat supplements. Just anything you can put a cat on, somebody's going to be selling it, whether that's for you or for your cat. We have a cat tattoo contest. We have cat bingo. We have adoptable cats. We have educational and entertaining speakers, so you can learn about cat wellness. You can learn fun cat stories. Pretty much anything that has to do with cats will be happening this weekend at Bellworks.
No, listen, I don't want to pussyfoot. I don't want to pussyfoot around here. See what I did there? I'm sorry. I'm sure you've heard that before. But you've been doing rescue and foster work since 2016. What would you say has changed since 2016? And where is the need today? Because I know a lot more people are making sure their pets are neutered and spayed so that you don't have an overabundance. So what do you think has changed?
Sure. I mean, that's a big one. And I've seen a huge uptick in just general education for rescue work and what we do at Catberry Park and all the other rescues all over the world. There's a lot more awareness about it. I think, events like ours really help that. That's the main focus of what we do. Obviously, we want people to come and have fun and be entertained, but we also want to educate. Since we started this in 2016 to now, people are definitely more aware of cat wellness and cat rescue and just kind of the challenges that rescues like us face. And we just are trying to continue that mission and raise awareness and raise funds and continue to save cats.
That's awesome. And it's a good thing. Look, here's one of my only issues with my friends who have cats. And I'm going to speak to all of you out there and you know who you are. Okay. See, the difference between my dogs and my friends' cats, I don't put my dogs up on the counter where I'm going to put food. I don't have my dog's fur all over the counter. I'm going to put food. I don't want my babies up on the counter with their dirty diapers where I'm going to put food. Do you see the theme here? And it drives me nuts when I visit people and friends and relatives who put the baby with the dirty diaper on the counter and then take them down and then they put plates there. I'm like, eh. Or they have the cat. The cat jumps up and now they're going to put the plate of food and the cat's fur is all. That's the only thing that bothers me. So to my friends out there, and I love you all dearly, friends and relatives, please keep the cats and the babies off the countertop, or at least keep some handy wipes there that are disinfectant. That's all I'm saying. Okay, is that too much to ask, DJ? I don't think so. I'm
I
not
think
that
that's
picky a
fair.
person. That's it.
I think that's
And
fair.
okay, so now let me ask you something. Why do some cats, and I guess some dogs too, they have the extra hook thing on the side that they're born with? They have, I know dogs have that extra, like a vestigial thumb, and some cats are born with multiple toes. Is that like more common in cats than other animals? Because I've had a number of relatives with like nine
Yeah,
toes on one foot.
cats. I mean, I wouldn't say it's not necessarily something you would say is common in cats, but you do see it frequently. I don't know in relation to other animals if it's more or less common, but yeah, it's just a genetic kind of mutation, but it doesn't bother them. It doesn't bother us. It actually generally makes them even more highly adoptable. So when we do get rescue cats that have those extra toes, people tend to like it.
My cousin had one. My cousin had a calico and named it Sasquatch because it
Okay.
had two giant,
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
like
yeah.
9 on one and 8 on the other. The
Yeah.
sweetest, most beautiful cat with just the most beautiful colors. They're great animals. I love the fact that you love it so much and that so many great, and again, not that I don't love cats, I'm just horribly allergic to, or else I would probably have 5. I love the fact that you're doing this and you help rescue cats and you bring all these cat lovers together. I may have to come down for my mother-in-law and do some shopping. So
Yeah.
that would be very cool. It is
I'd
called
love to have
cat.
you.
Oh, I would love it. I would just have to take an inhaler with me just in case, but it would be fun. It is called Cat Con, returning to Bell Works in Homedale, October 11th and 12th. Founder, president, awfully nice guy, founder, president of Catsbury Park, DJ Bornshine. You're a good man. I thank you for joining us, and I hope you have an awesome time, and it's packed.
Oh, thanks for having us.
You bet. Always come back, please. You're always
Yep.
welcome
Have
here.
a good day.
Thank you. It is 8:15. When we come back, most Americans tend to agree on key issues like cost of living, safety, and healthcare. We're going to talk with an expert about where voters stand on the issues right now. Partly to mostly cloudy, very warm today. Doesn't feel like fall. Highs low 80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with your full Garden State forecast, and we will take your phone calls, 888-658-0234. You're watching ONNJ Jersey Mornings. Don't go away. Hello and welcome back to ONNJ Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 8:17, taking calls at 888-658-0234. If we're in the middle of an interview or the middle of a story and a call comes through and it's pertinent to the interview or story, you get to the front of the line. You get to talk. If you don't like the way we're angling a story, if you feel we're slanted one side or the other and you have a differing opinion or the same opinion, call us up. We want to hear from you. We will put you on the air and you get to the front of the line. So that's the difference between this show and other shows. You say, what's the difference? Well, it's fully interactive. We want to hear what you have to say about these topics. Partly to mostly cloudy, very warm today, highs in the low 80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. We just won't interrupt Mike because what he says goes when it comes to weather.
Oh, you can call to complain about the weather all you want. I'm used to this. I've been getting it my whole life, even before I was a meteorologist. People would say, oh, you want to be a weatherman? You know what you're signing yourself up for. So the skin is thick over here, Ken. Hey, we've got some we need some thick skin in the next few days because it gets cold. We're talking chilly 30-degree weather on the way for tomorrow morning, especially up in the northern sections of the state, with those winds causing some gale warnings to be posted today in advance of that wind. Wind starts to get going tonight and last throughout the day tomorrow, gusts upwards of 40 miles per hour at the coast. We could get some 30 miles per hour gusts inland, especially with those temperatures that will free fall throughout this afternoon, especially climbing off our highs. That'll be in the 70s along the shore, low 80s inland. A lot of cloud cover to start the day, but gradually we'll see those skies clear out. A little touch of fog maybe up there towards Sussex. That's why it's reading 1 mile visibility, but that should improve throughout the day. And with that clearing taking over, tried to get some rain in here across the southern part of the state, but the air was just too dry. Again, can't match that moisture of Imelda as all of the weather kind of dries itself out as it interacts with that Canadian high, drying out the air throughout New Jersey. So with the temperatures falling tonight, the humidity drops like a rock. Look at that, down into the 20s by tomorrow morning, 30s throughout the afternoon. That just means it'll feel like fall around here throughout our Wednesday and into Thursday, with very dry weather throughout the course of Thursday afternoon. I think by Friday, we get a little bit of a southwesterly wind pushing back some humidity into the weekend, but it'll feel warm all around and sunny. Look at that clear sky throughout Saturday and Sunday. Another beautiful day, not just to head toward the fall festivities, but also the beaches, especially with Monday's weather also looking great. Just a really nice dry feel all around. Now, once we get into Tuesday and Wednesday, there's the potential for some moisture to work its way through. Maybe just some clouds, a sprinkle, nothing too heavy. Can't really get some significant rainfall around here. And that'll be the case into next weekend. With the dry weather forecast for this weekend, upper 70s on Saturday, low 80s on Sunday. Another warm one ahead. It's going to feel great. I don't think we're going to see a cloud this weekend, Ken. That's how warm and sunny it will be. So even though it'll feel chilly tomorrow morning and breezy throughout Thursday morning, oh, just wait. We're right back to summer come this weekend.
Well, I'm flying down south on Friday. And of course, just as we're going to get perfect weather here, I'll be in Florida. It's probably going to rain every day next week in Florida while you're getting beautiful weather, which is fine. It's just par for the course because it was just the opposite when I was down there and it was pouring up here. You're all entitled to nice weather. But we'll let you know. We'll have the beach cam set up from Florida next week and we'll see what it looks like.
All right.
All right, Mike. Thank you as always, friend. We will check back with you. It's 59 degrees in northern New Jersey right now and 61 in Trenton and 58 in Cape May. We have 59 also in Vineland. Traffic issues to talk about. We have issues on the Garden State Parkway still. Crash northbound north of exit 89C, Lakewood Airport Road in Lakewood Township with the left shoulder blocked. And we can take a look at the Jersey Turnpike right now. We have a vehicle fire that's reported just beyond that exit there. It's on the Jersey Turnpike inner roadway southbound north of interchange 8A, Route 32, South Brunswick Township with the right lane and shoulder closed to traffic due to an incident on the Turnpike proper. There's also debris on the Turnpike Eastern Spur northbound from south of exit or interchange 15E in Newark to north of interchange 15W in Kearney. All lanes open, but it's more than 2 miles of delays due to volume. Looking at the Hudson River crossings right now, 35 minutes at the Lincoln. It's 25 to 30 at the Holland. And our approach to the GWB bumper-to-bumper mess, upper and lower level, is going to cost you 45 minutes in. And that is all due to the issue still having the UN General Assembly in town. Even though the world leaders are gone, the ambassadors are all in town, and they are causing issues. So if you could commute in by mass transit or work from home, it would be appreciated just for the next few days. Next week should be much, or at least a little lighter. We'll keep our fingers crossed. 8:22, and with a government shutdown possible starting as of midnight tonight, new data shows something surprising. Believe it or not, most Americans actually agree on key issues like cost of living, safety, and healthcare. You'd never know it based on mainstream media, right? Well, joining us to break it all down and break down the findings is Dr. Lauren Smith, who is vice president at the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. Good morning, Dr. Smith. Good to have you on.
Thanks so much for having me.
You bet. What is the biggest takeaway from this new report?
I think the biggest takeaway, Ken, is that we are not as different as many people would have us believe. And we need to counter the false story that we are too divided to work together because the health of our families and our communities depend on it.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you. What gets me is I remember 20, 30 years ago, I'm old enough to remember that. I'm 58, so I know you're nowhere near that, but I remember as a
Oh, I
kid.
got you. I got you beat, Ken.
You look about 20 years younger than that. God bless you. I'm not kidding when I say that. But I remember as a kid, my own family, we had different politics. Oh my gosh, left and right, all over the place. But yet that didn't stop us from loving each other and being family. You have a couple of words back and forth, a little jab, a little tease during dinner, and that was it. That was the end of it. Today, I mean, the idea of people wanting to kill people and people wanting to cancel people, and it's frightening. And I'm just wondering, do you think that that's more because of the fact that we have social media and people just get on each other's nerves that way all day long?
Well, I think that there's of course, many reasons for what you're describing, but the constant stream of divisive politics and social media algorithms really that sort of feed the division really makes it seem like there is no common ground and that our shared challenges are impossible to solve, which is not what our study found, which was that in fact, people have many of the same shared priorities and face many of the same challenges and so want the same kinds of solutions.
I love that. Let's talk about some of the specific things that Americans agree on most, some of the topics that they agree on.
Well, perhaps not surprising, the people that we talked to really agreed on what the challenges that they face. They agreed about the cost of living, that they were concerned about finding good paying jobs that would allow them to support their families, having access to affordable health care, having clean drinking water when you turn on the tap. There really were many areas where people agreed across differences and across potential what we might think of as differences.
Of course, then the issue becomes, and here's where the politics might come up. It's like, how do you fix it? How do you fix it? And you have the two people who kind of entrench themselves on one side or the other, and they say, well, you got to raise tax. No, you got to lower taxes. You got to do this. You got to know. You got to do that. And I think that's where people just insist that their way or the highway, and there is probably a very good common ground where both ways could work if people just calm down, take a breath, and actually learn to listen. My father taught me that as a kid. He used to call me diarrhea mouth. Yes, we could say diarrhea mouth on this because it's a streaming show. Sorry, doctor. Uh, he used to say, diarrhea mouth, stop. I love you. Stop and listen. Spew what you want to spew. Stop and actually listen to what somebody has to say in response.
Well,
And that's so important.
it's interesting that you said that, Ken, because what was unique about the study was the opportunity to bring people from different backgrounds together so they could do just that, to be able to listen to each other and to find those areas of common ground. And throughout that process, then people were able to identify really important things like the vast majority of people really are concerned that the cost of living increases means that people might have to move, longtime residents might have to move from their neighborhoods. They're concerned. 95% of the people we talked to are concerned that your zip code and where you happen to live shouldn't determine whether you have access to clean water and safe, affordable housing and access to healthy food. So there really is so much that people agree on. And I would add, my grandmother said we have two ears and one mouth, and we should use them in that proportion.
God bless grandma. God bless. Whether she's here or not, I hope she is. And boy, are those words of wisdom. Bless her heart. That is exactly it. In fact, I think St. Francis said, go out and preach to the world and use your mouth if necessary. In other words, live by
Yeah.
example. That's the key there. And it says so much. And the other thing, if I can add, when you talked about zip codes, also the unfairness of people not being able to get loans to buy homes if they're in certain zip codes. That also has been clearly abused by certain banks and lending institutions over the years. And that's just unacceptable,
Well,
especially in this era.
people are concerned about the ability to housing of afford their homes, to find housing that is both safe and affordable, and that was a significant concern across all backgrounds.
Dr. Smith, what about healthcare in the different communities?
That also showed up as an area where people had concerns. People were concerned not only for themselves, but also for others in their community, potentially not having access to affordable, quality healthcare in a way that was, close to them and that they could get to. So that did rise up. I think the other thing I would bring up is that people did agree that government, despite all that you might think the government has a really important role to play in helping communities solve problems like affordable housing. That was a strong consensus.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. Look, here's part of the issue for everybody, and I even touched on it earlier in the show. Everybody who's worried about low income or affordable housing in communities. Well, you know what? It is the fault of the communities while they were being planned for the last 50 years and they took federal government money. They were supposed to plan in more affordable housing here, more affordable housing there, and a lot of them took the federal money and never did that. And that was part of the deal. If you were going to take $100 million in federal money, you were supposed to plan your community so that everybody could take part. Now they find themselves stuck with all these super exclusive neighborhoods, and they're saying, "Oh, where are we going to put the lower income housing?" Well, that's your problem. You took $100 million years ago. You were supposed to help everybody to be part of the community. Now you're going to have what are clearly community divides because of the way you set it up.
Well, and as I mentioned, 4 out of 5 of the people in this study are concerned that rising costs are going to mean that long-term residents have to leave their communities. And that is something that people aren't looking for. And the other thing that was a strong consensus is people want a community where everyone feels welcome. And
Mhm.
that also may not be expected based on the kind of press and stories that are out there about the divisions that we supposedly have.
I'm with you. One of the nicest parts about being in New Jersey, especially in northern New Jersey, is we are very diverse. It's such an awesome place in that there's a lot of everybody from every place and the great restaurants from all over the world. And you go to a lot of parts of the country, you just don't see that mix of people, and life gets pretty boring. I lived in the Midwest briefly. It's kind of boring. I'm not kidding. But you just don't see it as much here. It's just a much more vibrant lifestyle. So, Doctor, what's a website so people could read more about this?
If people want to look at the study and understand more about what it shows, please go to rwjf / common ground.
That's awesome. And what a wonderful foundation in the state of New Jersey. Dr. Lauren Smith, Vice President at the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. Thank you so much for giving us this information and for joining us this morning.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me, Ken.
You bet. Have a great day. It is 8:30, and when we come back, it's been over 5 decades since Joanne Chesimard murdered New Jersey State Trooper Werner Forster, a father and a husband. This happened back in 1973. She was sentenced to prison but escaped and fled to Cuba. She died last week. But there's a disturbingly large number of people on the left politically supporting Chesimard, and even a number of people who are elected officials who either haven't said a word about it or lent some tacit support, calling the terrorist a revolutionary freedom fighter. We want to hear about that, and we're going to talk to somebody about that in just a moment. The phone lines are open, so give us a call, 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings, and we are seen daily at ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, News on, Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, X, streamed live as well at Substack, Rumble, and Twitch. And we're about to come on, I can't say which, there's another big format we're coming online with very soon. So we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jeanette Hoffman, host of Energy Matters. Join me every night at 6 p.m. where we're discussing energy affordability, challenges, and solutions with stakeholders and elected officials. Join me weekdays at 6 p.m. on Energy Matters on ONNJ.
A very good morning. It is Tuesday, September 30th, 2025, 61 degrees at 8:32. Ken Rosato here. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Partly to mostly cloudy, very warm today. Not like a fall day, more like a summer day, although that will change. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has a detailed Garden State forecast in what today is supposed to be into the low 80s, and then tomorrow only the upper 60s. So talk about a big difference going from today to tomorrow. What a difference a day makes. Hey, Mike.
What a difference. Yeah, already starting to see the sun break through in Sussex County. And it's that clearing that, believe it or not, Ken, is actually causing some fog to develop up there. We call that radiational cooling, where you need all that clear sky to allow a little bit of surface fog to develop. But everywhere else across New Jersey, It's dealing with the thin cloud cover right now. Thin clouds across northern New Jersey, thicker the further you head south. This is all the moisture and energy due to Imelda, which is spinning off the coast of Florida, and yet thousands of miles away, we have our cloudy weather today. But that will change. With drier air working in from the north, we see temperatures quickly spike into the upper 70s and then eventually cool down tonight after getting a little bit of sunshine there through Hamilton and Camden this afternoon. That'll bring us back closer to our average high of 73 degrees, especially with the shorter daylight hours, have a earlier sunset, closer to 6:30 now. And with those skies starting to clear out there up north, we'll gradually see all of the clear sky take over today. So the main players in our weather in New Jersey are actually down in the Atlantic Basin in the tropics. There's Umberto, which is helping Imelda spin out to sea and not affect the U.S. mainland, helping to really steer it out into the Atlantic. So with the latest advisory from the Hurricane Center showing maximum sustained winds of 100 miles per hour for Umberto, it's really Imelda that could be a concern for Bermuda, as the system should race across the island by Wednesday night into Thursday and then quickly exit out to sea. But nevertheless, they'll be close enough to give us some pretty large waves and surf at the beaches from Thursday and Friday. More of a concern for beach erosion. I know that's the kind of weather surfers love down the shore, but plan on some big waves to get another spectacle at the ocean by the end of this week. As far as today and tomorrow is concerned, look at the drop in temperatures down in the 30s and 40s tomorrow morning, climbing back into the 60s only in the afternoon. And those winds gusting up to 30 or 40 miles per hour will make it feel dry even through Thursday morning. There's actually going to be a wind chill, and that's kind of exciting for Pam, our director, who loves fall and the cold weather. A wind chill. Yeah, it's October, so we can bring back those graphics, especially bringing in the nice dry weather for the next few days. So there's the tropical moisture headed out to sea. We are left with a nice warm breeze by the weekend as this high settles down and drives in some of those balmy breezes come Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, helping temperatures climb back into the low 80s. It'll take some time. We'll be cool tomorrow and Thursday, gradually climb back into the 70s by Friday, and then look what happens for Sunday and Monday. Low 80s on Sunday and Monday. The beaches will be a great place to be this weekend because I'm sure everybody will be paying a lot of money for the pumpkins that they could have got at the home improvement store. And by Saturday, it's probably where they came from anyway. And then by Saturday and Sunday, bringing back plenty of warmth through Sunday and Monday. Ken, I saw $20 pumpkins that were this big over the weekend. And
that's just pathetic. Pathetic. And by the way, I told you about that farm that's near me, the farm.
Yeah.
They have about 100 more boxes overflowing of these pumpkins, and they charge like $50 to come in. What these people do is they bought these pumpkins. They've been sitting there for weeks, and they dump them out in the mud, and you're supposed to pay them $50 for the pleasure of walking in their muddy field and tracking mud all over the place to pick up a pumpkin off the ground when you could just go to the Target and buy one for $20 or $5. Pam is saying they're $5. Yeah, I saw them at my Acme for like $9.99. What the hell? Why am I going to pay $50 to walk in mud?
It's true. Apple picking over the weekend, $8 admission per person, and you walk out with a tiny bag of apples for the whole family. So
which you could buy for like $2.95 at the Acme. Yeah. I'm just saying, it's crazy. We're nuts. I guess if you have kids, it's different. Hey, all right. Thank you very much, Mike. We'll check back. 59 degrees right now in northern New Jersey, 61 in Trenton. And in terms of traffic, let's look at the Garden State Parkway. Yeah, no, we're doing the Jersey Turnpike first. I'm sorry, New Jersey Turnpike first. We have several issues on the Turnpike. The first here, this is the result of, this is down by, 9. So this is the result of a vehicle fire on the Turnpike Inner Roadway southbound north of interchange 8A Route 32 South Brunswick. 2 right lanes and a right shoulder closed due to an incident on the Turnpike. You could see how bumper to bumper that is, just an absolute mess. Staying on the Turnpike, although not there, it's about 6 miles away from there. We have debris on the Turnpike eastern spur northbound from south of interchange 15E, which is 1 and 9 in Newark, to north of interchange 15W, I-280 in Kearney. All lanes open, but a 2.5 mile delay due to volume. Garden State has a crash now. Property damage. Vehicle off the roadway, and that is southbound south of exit 69, Waretown Road in Ocean Township. And another issue at 89C Lakewood Airport Road in Lakewood Township. The left shoulder's blocked there due to a crash on the Garden State. Crash investigation, Route 72, both directions, by Nautilus Drive in Stafford Township, with the right lane and right shoulder closed eastbound and the left lane closed westbound. Your approaches to the Hudson River right now, your crossings, your Lincoln and Holland are both reporting 25 to 35. It's 25 of the Holland, 35 of the Lincoln. GWB upper and lower levels now starting to move a little bit. Your better bet is the upper level on the right. As you can see, lower level is going to cost you about 40. Upper is about 30 to 35. 8:38 is our time. It has been over 5 decades since Joanne Chesimard murdered New Jersey State Trooper Werner Forster, a father and husband. It happened back in 1973. Now, she was sentenced to prison, but she escaped and fled to Cuba, where she died last week. But a disturbingly large number of people on the left support Chesimard, calling the terrorist a revolutionary freedom fighter. Tom Van Tassel is a retired New Jersey State Police captain who is now a licensed security professional and a martial arts instructor at both Fairleigh Dickinson and William Patterson Universities. Tom joins us on the phone this morning. Good morning to you, Tom.
Yes, good morning, Ken. Thank you for the invitation to appear on your program.
We appreciate it. Tom, refresh everybody's memory on that awful day back in 1973 when Joanne Chesimard, later known as Assata Shakur, murdered Trooper Werner Forster. Tell everyone what happened that day.
Right. On the early morning hours, shortly after midnight on May the 2nd of 1973, Trooper James Harper stopped the car bearing 3 occupants, Joanne Chesimard and 2 of her compatriots, and Werner Forster arrived as a backup unit. Shortly after an investigation at the roadside, shots rang out from the Chesimard vehicle, from within the vehicle, forcing the state police to respond. James Harper, Trooper Harper, responded firing his weapon. However, he was shot. So was the backup officer. Trooper Forrester was shot, having never even drew his weapon from his holster. Shortly
and he was
after
shot,
that, as
I'm sorry to step on you really fast. I don't mean to step on your flow. He was shot in the shoulder, preventing him from even reaching his gun, right? Because he was shot right at the shoulder point and probably bled out from that.
Well, he was shot in the shoulder, disallowing him to draw his weapon. And while he lay mortally wounded next to his police car, Joanne Chesimard and or her compatriots came up to kill him directly, to execute him. And their gun was jammed lying next to his body. They ripped his weapon from his holster and killed him executing style with his own weapon.
Disgusting.
That's what happened.
And Chesimard had been, she is no angel. They made the rest in peace. We're showing Trooper Forster. He was executed for doing his job.
Absolutely.
All they had to do when the police came up on them, because they knew that they had been wanted for felonies. That's why they fired at the officers. But all they had to do is say what happened. They could, at worst, they would have been arrested. But no, they were out to kill cops, clearly, and that's what they were convicted of, or she was. Chesimard had been convicted of at least 6 felonies. She was a pillar, though, for the terrorists, the Black Panthers, and their movement. Yet there are people in the country, Captain, I will call you Captain, even though you're retired from that, for whatever sick reason, who revere this woman as some sort of freedom fighter. Members of the Chicago Teachers Union and arch-leftist Massachusetts Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley praised the cop killer. Democrat gubernatorial candidate Mikey Sherrill has remained noticeably silent, even though Governor Murphy condemned Chesimard. So what would you say to the people on the left who treat this murderer like an idol?
It's extremely disheartening for news agencies to sanitize the crimes, especially of domestic terrorists. And I would say report the facts instead of becoming emotionally involved and virtually becoming advocates for these domestic terrorists and criminals.
Right, because what message are you sending to younger people who may, they're raised maybe potentially, especially going to school today. You have these leftists, so many leftist professors who indoctrinate them with this anti-police, anti-establishment, anti-America mentality. And look, this is not to say that my dad was an officer, you were a captain. I get it. Not everybody's perfect. There are plenty of news anchors who are idiots, and there are some police officers who are not the nicest people. Most, though, you're putting your life on the line every day to keep people safe, and you surely do not do it for the money. So the fact that people would prey on police like this and execute a father and a husband makes me ill, and that is the end of civilized society if anyone condones that. Captain, tell us what the mood was like in America in the early 1970s when Trooper Forster was murdered. What was it like in New Jersey back then?
Back then, America was more law and order oriented, having to deal with these domestic terrorists. She was a member of the Black Liberation Army, the BLA, and they did crimes throughout the Northeast in America, specifically targeting the police. So we were always on an alert so that we wouldn't get shot or harmed on traffic stops. But in this case, she and her compatriots fired on the state police first, which forced us to return fire. Sadly, both troopers were wounded. Jimmy Harper survived and is alive today, but Werner Forster, a German immigrant, came to America with stars in his eyes to become a law enforcement officer, more particularly a state trooper. To be gunned down having not even drawn his weapon from his holster is horrific.
It's a horrible story. I just hope younger people especially learn the truth about this and know that listen, we may not agree with every police officer on everything all the time. The bottom line is they are paid to keep us safe. Society would not exist as we have it. We wouldn't have all the nice things that we like if not for police officers putting their lives on the line every single day. Just remember that. And I think all too often we forget it. Retired New Jersey State Police Captain Tom Van Tassel, thank you for your service on the state police, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Ken. Have a great day.
You too, Tom. 8:45 right now. We have 61 degrees. When we come back, two rising stars in jazz, our brand new award winners. We'll speak with Esteban Castro and Tyler Bullock. Partly to mostly cloudy, very warm today, highs low 80s. You're watching ONNJ Jersey Mornings. We're back in 30. Welcome back to ONNJ Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 8:45, taking calls at 888-658-0234. No matter where you stand politically and whether you agree or disagree on our stories, you are welcome to call, and we want to hear from you. Everybody has an equal say, and you will be given time on the air. Partly to mostly cloudy, very warm today, highs low 80s. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Last time this morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ken. It may only be Tuesday, but it's the last day of the month, right? So we're running through the fall season, and with fall's arrival, with the weather for fall arriving tomorrow morning, it'll feel a lot cooler than this afternoon. Temperatures today climbing to the low 80s with the sunshine already appearing across northern New Jersey, the clouds thinning out, the sun returning and making for a warmer feel. Still in our drought, even though we had a little bit of a dewy mist on the on the grass this morning. Well, that will give way to more dry weather as the 1 to 2 inch rainfall deficit persists up there in the northeastern corner of the state. Warmer than average weather expected between now and the middle of October. So very warm weather taking over, and also drier than average weather too there in the northeastern corner of the state that lasts through the first week of October. So as far as the next few days are concerned, the cool weather arrives tomorrow with a gusty breeze. Winds last through the afternoon, gusting up to about 30 or 40 miles per hour. That cold air settles in for Thursday. Could see some frost and freeze advisories up in Sussex County. County. And then, of course, some wind chill too. We'll see that wind chill as early as tomorrow morning. By Friday, we're right back into the 70s later on in the day. Wind switch direction and then push in the 80s once more. So we drop 20 degrees tonight and we're back up 20 degrees by the weekend. Just big temperature swings, thanks in part to the dry air. It doesn't do much to make these big temperature swings when you have air this dry, and that's consistent with fall, even down the shore. Upper 70s this weekend. Beach weather for the first weekend in October. Who would have thought? But we'll take it, keeping it warm through next weekend.
All right. Thank you so much, Mike. It is 61 degrees. Enjoy your day, sir. 61 degrees right now, northern New Jersey, 61 in Trenton, and 60 down the shore in Cape May. Traffic, a lot of it. Let's take a look at the Jersey Turnpike right now. We have issues. This is northern New Jersey. So now we have a debris spill on the New Jersey Turnpike Eastern Spur northbound south of interchange 15E, 1 and 9 in Newark to north of interchange 15 WI 280 Kearney. All lanes are open, but what you're looking at here, this is about a 2 to 3 mile delay, and that's all due to this debris spill along the highway. Other parts of the Turnpike, not too far from there, there's a tractor trailer fire now that was just reported. New Jersey Turnpike outer roadway northbound north of interchange 13. So it's only about a mile from what you were just looking at. And that's going to cause residual delays as a result. So the truck fire is by 278, the Goethals Bridge in Linden, 2 right lanes and the shoulder closed to traffic. And a disabled tractor trailer on the Turnpike by interchange 9, Route 18 in East Brunswick. The center lane is blocked there. Wow, we got a lot going on here. My goodness. They're popping up more and more on the Turnpike. Let's go over to the Garden State. We have delays on the Garden State southbound at exit 159, I-80 in Saddlebrook. That's all volume, about a 3 mile delay with volume. And then your approaches to the Hudson River crossings. Lincoln Tunnel is still 35 minutes. It's 25 to 30 at the Holland. GWB approach upper and lower level, a mess. It's about 25 to 30 now, upper level on the right. Lower level is 35 minutes on the left. 8:49, we're joined today by 2 rising stars in jazz, Esteban Castro and Tyler Bullock. They just won the 2026 Larry J. Bell Young Jazz Artist Award from the Gilmore. Each gets $25,000 as their prize to support their music and growth. We welcome Esteban and Tyler to the show. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you on. Thanks for getting up so early with us. We appreciate it, especially if you're musicians. I'm guessing you don't like getting up at like 6 a.m. That's not a good thing for musicians. I know about that. I have it in my family, and they stay up till 3 a.m. playing, so I get it. What did this award mean to you both personally? You could take it, either one could start, but what does this mean to you? This is a huge deal in the world of jazz.
Yeah, it means a lot. It's the inaugural award, so they do an award for classical musicians, but this is the first award for jazz musicians. So it's a huge honor to be a part of a lineage of so many great musicians. For both of us.
Phenomenal. And how do you guys? Oh, in fact, I'm sorry. I should let Tyler. How did you want to react to that too? What does this mean to get that award?
Yeah, I think it's an incredible honor, and it's really encouraging, I think, for the both of us to really continue putting everything we have, trying to make our goals in this music happen.
So does it, Tyler, let's stay with Tyler and then we'll go back the other way. We'll start with Tyler this time. With all the practice you probably committed to for all the years and on all your performing, and I mean, for every hour of public performance, you probably spend 1,000 hours privately playing over and over again. So it must have been so special to get awarded and recognized like that. Do you have any plans for the $25,000?
Well, I'll say this. I think both of us write a lot of music, and I haven't officially recorded any of it yet, and I'm fairly certain that I'm going to use that at least partly to help with recording some of that music.
I love it. That's awesome. To get it done professionally or by somebody certainly that knows how to operate I'm so bad with using what do they call it? What's the Apple program? Hello. See, I can't even remember it now. but the Apple program that allows you to record, whatever music.
GarageBand.
Thank you. Oh my God. This is what happens when I haven't had my second cup of coffee. Good Lord. But it's amazing how advanced, that is. And I mean, it's like what used to be big recording studios years ago in a computer. What is a lesson? Let's go over now to Esteban. What's a lesson that jazz has taught you at this point in your life?
Oh, it's taught me a lot. I think I think I think for both of us, it's really a vehicle for expression. I love playing jazz because I'm not just playing something that someone else has come up with. You're also coming up with stuff on the spot. So I think it's just it's an amazing vehicle for expression, and it's taught me to really value that aspect.
Have you guys, by the way, have you two guys played together?
I think we have. We actually went to school together. So there might. I can't remember, but there might have been times. Yeah.
That's very cool. And just I love jazz. In fact, when I was a baby DJ on radio, one of the first stations I ever worked at was a classic jazz station. So it was music from the 40s, 50s, 60s, and hearing from all the greats, even like the great smooth jazz singers like Nat King Cole of his day and whatnot, and how it gave birth to modern jazz, which is so awesome. What is it like? Just talk about the passion, the feeling, and we'll ask Tyler this one. The passion when you are riffing and you're going off on a sound and you just have it all working. That feeling when everything is working perfectly and you're just able to flow and express. Talk about the feeling that you have inside you at that time.
Yeah, I guess there's like that kind of mental state that some people call the zone, like basketball players talk about it. I think it's something that you always are trying to get into, but it's different every time, and you can't really force it to happen. You just have to be present with what's happening, and it's kind of just all you really feel is that you're just present with what's happening. You know what I'm saying?
I love it. And that's what makes it, that's where your passion comes out. That's why, every jazz artist is so unique and so different when they're performing. And it's like you're exposing your soul in your instrument. What are your instruments, by the way? What are each your instruments? Tyler, what's your instrument?
Both of us are pianists.
Piano. Oh, amazing. Amazing. So how has working with legends shaped your sounds? We'll start over with Esteban on this one.
Yeah, it's always a privilege to get to play, other people's music, and it's great because you get to sort of learn over time how they think, and then you can apply that musically and also personally to other aspects of your life. So that's always been something that I've really loved, and it's always a lesson that you can take for your own music as well.
I love it. And Tyler, you've played some big stages too. What's been a favorite moment for you?
Oh, that's a good question. I think one moment in particular was last fall. I played at the Pittsburgh Jazz Festival with this really renowned trumpet player named Sean Jones. That was a really special show.
That must be so amazing playing with somebody who is so accomplished and so well known, and then having an audience listen and they're there to see you. That must be, I mean, I'm getting chills thinking about that. And you're there showing the art that you love and that you practice and it's such a beautiful thing. I love music. I know you're in love with music. And so that just must be just such a thrill to be able to expose your soul. What advice stuck with you guys with your most with your years of training, Esteban?
Oh, I was fortunate enough to study with great pianist Fred Hirsch from when I was about 13, and he is always a huge advocate for taking things really slowly and not rushing things. and being patient and allowing things to come. And the more that I play and the more that I sort of experience life, the more I realize how true that is. So I think that's something that's really stuck with me.
Nice. I don't know if you guys, I'm sure if you're in the New York area, you listen to Jazz 88 or, Jazz on Sirius XM. The guy who's behind that channel is a guy named Mark Ruffin, who's a friend of mine, very good friend of mine, actually. And so I see you nodding your head. You know who I'm talking about. I'm so glad that he supports young jazz players like you both. And it's just such an honor to have you both on. And I just wish you the best. We're out of time, or else I would have you talk another hour, but I want to congratulate you both, Esteban Castro, Tyler Bullock, winners of the 2026 Larry J. Bell Young Jazz Artist Award from the Gilmore, 25 grand apiece. Thank you both for coming on this morning. God bless you both and best of luck. We want to keep hearing you for years to come.
Thank you.
Have a good day. It is 8:58. How cool. I love jazz. 8:58 right now, 63 degrees. We're going to have partly to mostly cloudy skies, but very warm today, highs in the low 80s. You are watching ONNJ Mornings for your Tuesday, September 30th. When we check in tomorrow, October 1st, it'll be 15 degrees cooler. I'm Ken Rosato. Stream us live at ONNJ.com every day, Monday through Friday from 7 to 9 a.m. Repeat from 9 to 11. Have a great day and see you tomorrow.